Hi, my dear students. Well, I'm going to come up with a question which is pretty intriguing, a little tricky for you. Why do you think we have in an experimental design? Why do we have experimental condition and control condition? What is the significance? What would have happened had control condition not been there? So, what is the significance of control condition? All right, I am expecting some exciting answers from you. Nevertheless, I am going to give you the answer because I am going to follow up with another interesting question, which, of course, I would want you to be called to action for that particular question. For this, I'm giving you the answer. Well, control condition. Why is it called controlled? Because it controls everything. It even controls the existence of confounding variables by saying that it is the IV, it is the independent variable, the manipulative variable, which is the main proponent, which is the main key player for impacting or creating a change in your DV. So it sets as a baseline or a reference point for comparing the results, right? The influence of IV over DV. So, in other words, it also establishes, it reinforces, rather, I would say, it reinforces the existence of internal validity in an experimental setup. That is the role of a control condition. That is why it's called control condition, means the researcher does not interfere by manipulating the variable, the independent variable. And that's where the participants do not receive any treatment. However, when I talk about, it controls confounding variables and it reinforces internal validity, some students, I have seen, they have a misconception. They think that control condition and experimental condition are only visible in true experiment. Do you think that's the case? Here I want your answer. I also want to know that why is this misconception? This misconception is, of course, the answer is no. You can understand from my tone itself, the answer would be no. But I want to know the reason that why you have this misconception. Why are you prone to think that experimental condition and control condition, I can guarantee you that many of you might not have realized, but you have taken it for granted that experimental condition and control condition are conditions which only a true experiment experiences. But no, it is experienced by field, by quasi, by natural. So why do you think this misconception exists? Write your answers and share it with me. Thank you very much and have a great evening.